Hey there, lovely people. Welcome to Be Your Best You with Tash and Becky, your go-to hangout for all things spiritual, subconscious, and downright magical. We're here to sprinkle a little mystical wisdom into your everyday life and help you level up your reality.
Picture this as your cosmic coffee date, where we chat about the unseen world, blend in some psychology vibes, and stir up the subconscious magic. Get ready to be the queen of your own reality, live a life that lights you up, and have a blast doing it.
So grab your latte or your tea and let's dive into another episode of Be Your Best You, where the mystical meets the mundane and your best life awaits.
Cheers to creating magic together.
Let's do this.
Hi!
Welcome to another episode of Be Your Best You with Tash
And Becky.
Oh, lovely to be here.
Yes,
Lovely to be here.
I love it.
Oh,
I've
well,
missed you.
I know, I've missed you. I mean, you guys won't realise because the episodes are coming out every 2 weeks, but we haven't actually recorded a podcast episode for about 2 or 3 weeks, have we? And yeah, it's
we
missed it.
We have missed it.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, I love it.
Feel a bit like nervous. Well, today we're going to be speaking, and this is completely off the cuff, isn't it? We haven't usually before our podcast episodes, we have a chat first, just talk through what we're going to kind of talk about, why it's kind of been intuitively guided to us to talk about. We haven't actually done that today.
No, not at all.
What we're going to be talking about, obviously, as you guys know, because you've seen the title, but we're going to be talking about a feeling of inner safety, fostering an inner feeling of safety, and how to go about doing that and why it's so important.
Yeah.
And the reason that we're talking about this today is because this is the one thing I was just saying to you, wasn't it? That it's really interesting, and I have this happen a lot, but at the moment, all the clients I'm working with, it's all very much focused on this inner feeling of safety that they're missing.
Yeah.
That we have kind of got to really, really as the very, very root cause of all of the other issues that are presenting in their lives that seem to have no real relevance to that on first glance,
right?
Especially when you're looking at it from a conscious point of view. And I said to you, didn't I? It's funny, but it's not funny, and it's strange, but it's not strange, because this is something that I am very much working on myself. And so I know that I draw clients towards me to act as mirrors for me, because this is what's so great about my job, and I'm so grateful for it. But my clients are my healers as well. So as much as I'm helping them, they are always helping me, because they are reflecting back to me what's going on with me. And obviously I haven't, got a me to work with right now. And even for me, though I know how to do this, and it's actually really frustrating, because I know what I've got to do, I know what the problems are, I know how to solve it, but it's really, really hard to see yourself, even when you're the therapist and you're trained and you know how to do it. This is why it's so important, and it's so powerful to get outside help from someone that you feel comfortable with, and someone that you resonate with, and someone who, like me, who can deal with the subconscious mind and show you what you can't see for yourself, right? So anyway, my clients have been having this as a recurring theme, and as I said, I am working on this myself, and it's almost like, I mean, don't you, I've been aware of this kind of issue for a long time, but it's so deep. And it's like taken me a long time to kind of peel back the layers, that at the moment, at this point where I am now, I feel like I'm at the very depths of it, which is the hardest part, the rawest part, and it's the hardest kind of to really see. But I feel like I'm getting there, and my clients are helping me to do that. And so I'm very, very grateful. But I also want to say that, because sometimes it's easy to think people that you listen to on podcasts, like whether it's us or other people, or people that you see on Instagram talking about self-help and personal growth, it's easy to think that they've got it all figured out, and we absolutely haven't. No one's ever got it all figured out, and if somebody tells you they have, run away. Don't listen to them, because it's not true. And, you know, we were talking about human design in a few podcasts ago. And a part of my human design is actually that I have been designed, or I have designed myself before I came into this life, as someone who learns from their mistakes and then teaches others about what they learn so that they can fast track. So I have to learn by trial and error. I have to learn by trial and error so that I can show other people, don't do it this way, and give them a faster route. Like, this is what I learned. Now you can do it much, much quicker than I did. That's part of my human design profile. And also, you know, I have to kind of step first out there and show other people. That's what I'm doing. Like, that's what I'll always do. So I am never like done, and I'm never finished. But even if you're just a couple of steps ahead of the people that you can help, then that's great. And so I think that's a message for everyone as well. Don't ever think that you have to have your shit together and you have to have it all figured out to be able to help other people or advise other people or guide other people or lead other people. You don't. You just have to, you know, be there, maybe one step ahead. Sometimes you can even have people with you that are on the same kind of level as you. But if you're the one that decides to step up and be brave and lead, you're going to help them as well. So that's a little side message that's just come through for this, but I think it's important for people to hear.
And very interesting that this seems to be quite a common theme you're coming across now at the moment. So I think that is your sign to talk about it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that it's actually really important in these times as well, because I think, and I've said this to my clients recently as well, actually, I think most people could use some work, some subconscious work around an inner sense of safety. I think there's probably very few people out there that do just feel safe within themselves, right? But I think what is especially important right now in these times that we're living in is that the world, if you're aware and awake, and especially if you're sensitive to energies like our listeners are, the world's in a little bit of an unstable, uncertain place at the moment. And whether or not you watch the news or not, because, you know, I don't watch the news at all. I'm completely disconnected for the most part to the outside world. And yet still, because I'm sensitive to energy, I feel that instability. I feel that like uncertainty. And it really, really helps if you have that inner sense of safety within yourself to deal with the bigger collective issues as well as your personal issues in your everyday life. If that makes sense.
Because I suppose if you're not in control of your own personal safety, then you're out of control when external things happen. You're maybe not able to be as calm, as clear thinking, would you say?
Absolutely. So it's resilience, isn't it? 100%. And I think so. Obviously, to be clear, this inner sense of safety, what the problem is, and what you're probably, if you're relating to this, which I would imagine everybody is to some extent, or maybe you're not right now because you haven't become consciously aware of that this is what's subconsciously driving your fears and your problems at the moment. You know, a lot of my clients had no idea, couldn't articulate this. I knew that my inner sense of safety was causing a lot of my issues. But that's because I've been doing this work for a long time and I live it and breathe it. And so it was very clear to me. But you guys might not know. Some of you might not realize this. So please stay listening, because this could really give you some aha moments and some realizations to be like, oh, that's where it's coming from. You know, that's where my relationship problems are coming from. Oh, that's why I can't ever seem to get myself promoted at work. You know, oh, that's why I've got issues with always worrying that my health's gonna fail, or I'm always overprotective of my children. You know, it can come in all kinds of manifestations in your life. But if you can realize that it comes down to a root feeling of you not having that inner safety, you know, you can wipe it all out. It makes life, it gives you more resilience. Like you said, you can go through life feeling calm amidst the storm.
Yeah.
Basically. And we all need that.
Yeah, it's going to make your life a lot easier, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So stay tuned, stay listening, even if it's not resonating with you right now, because I think that it could be really powerful. So what most of us tend to do, whether we realize it consciously or not, is we put our sense of safety on external sources. So what I mean by that is financially, big one. Right. You know, money equals safety. Yeah. Money equals security to a lot of people. Or you put it on a person. Yeah. So your husband, your partner, your wife, whatever. Or just material things. Right. Like your house equals your safety. Right. Yeah. Or all your things, all your assets, safety. Or it could just be as broad as you don't like change. Yeah, so if things change, if things are different in your life, that isn't not safe as well. So you put your safety on things staying the same. And I think we all know, and I think that's something that's really, really important for everybody to try and work on. And I know that I have in the past, well, I'm always doing it, is to get comfortable with change. There's very few people who feel comfortable with change. And the only thing really that's certain in this life is that things will always change. Nothing, we all know, nothing ever stays the same. So if you're pinning your sense of safety on, you know, the familiar, life's always going to be rocky for you. There's always going to be something that pops up that's going to cause you anxiety or it's going to trigger your fears. You know, I learned a lot about this from Chris, my husband. He loves change. He's a weirdo. And I really thought he was, you know, when I first met him and I first observed his behaviors and saw how it worked, I'm like, you're such a weirdo. Why do you like change? He gets excited by change. And at first I didn't get it. No. But as time went on and you know, and I saw how he lived his life because he embraced change, I was just like, well, he's living a completely different reality to me, because I'm here trying so desperately to cling on to everything that I have that seems to be familiar to me. That's my safety, that's my comfort. That if anything changes, I'm like, oh, it sends me off on a wobble. It sent me off on a wobble. And the problem is that the more you do this, as with anything, the deeper ingrained it gets and the more insidious it is, and it starts creeping out into all areas of your life, and then it becomes something that was maybe quite quiet and sitting in the background to very much at the forefront of your reality of you living your life. So that, you know, if you have builders come into your house, that's a change, right? It's because it's going to start like messing with your normal routine. You're going to have people in your house, and then that can send you into anxiety. Or, you know, if your kids start going to a different school, that's unfamiliar because it's different timings, different teachers, different ways. That's going to send you into anxiety. You know, I'm just giving these few examples that are seemingly silly changes, irrelevant changes, but actually you can start finding yourself feeling very, very anxious because of all these things. And I'm sure people now will start having things pop into their mind where they're like, oh yeah, like that makes sense, because I get anxious when, you know, I have to put my car in for a service and I don't usually drive over to there. I don't know what to do. I don't know how it got, you know, it's just because it's a little bit out of your routine. It's a little bit different. It's not something familiar to you. And you can see how all of these things will gradually build up. They're always going to happen in your life. But then you'll see how all of that suddenly makes you a nervous wreck, basically, and you wonder why you have underlying anxiety all the time, or you just have this sense of unease. And it's because of all these little things.
And you're just not aware of them.
No, because it's all going on under the surface. And obviously you're not aware that's what it is. But once you know, you can't unsee it. And it just, again, as with everything we talk about, it puts you back in control. It gives you the ability to make a choice, to choose to see it a different way or tell yourself a different story. I mean, just imagine, like, everyone, close your eyes, as long as you're not driving, close your eyes now and just imagine what it would be like if you could embrace change as feeling exciting. And change, another word for change, to be honest with you, is loss. Because when something changes, you're losing something, right? And if you have a fear of loss, fear of change, you know, that is going to feel the same kind of way as if you lost someone. Or, you know, do you know what I mean? Like it can feel that real and that raw. So just imagine if you could be comfortable and accepting and okay with losing things. The freedom that it would give you. Just imagine if you could have this inner sense of everything's going to be okay. Things change. I know things are going to change. I accept things are going to change. And I'm excited to see what that loss or that change is going to bring to me. So, because when we lose something, we're making space for something else to come in. And if you can have that belief within you that everything is always working out for you, and that when you lose something, it's because you're making room for something better to come in. Do you see then how you can start to convince yourself that change is good? Because if you're thinking, yep, I'm going to lose that, but something better is going to come in, it's going to make you more willing to be able to embrace it. Now, it's easier said than done, isn't it?
Sounds simple,
but this is why I do the work that I do, because you can do it consciously, but it's tough, isn't it? Like you said, and people don't stick at it. Because it's hard, because you have to constantly tell yourself every time you feel that fear, or every time you lose something, or every time someone changes and you feel that kind of anxiety, to say, oh no, remember, something better's coming along. Like it can work, but it's hard and it's a slow slog. This is why the subconscious work that I do is so powerful, because we can go back to events that first taught you to fear change, to fear loss. Because look, Chris doesn't fear change or loss. So that means that we are all perfectly, as human beings, because he's still a human being, I think, for the most part, and he can embrace change. And he feels comfortable with change, right? So that means it's possible for us. The reason that those of us that do fear change or have a fear of loss, feel that way is because something happened to us at some point, probably in childhood, that caused us to fear it, to feel a certain way. When we lost something, it filled us with this kind of fear, this terror. It wasn't addressed, it wasn't processed, it wasn't understood. And so then we've consistently gone through life fearing it, and then having it proved over and over to us again, because that's what happens. So subconscious work, going back to the childhood event, understanding where we kind of learnt that, and reprogramming it, giving yourself what you needed in that time, can be powerful enough to make you just let go of that fear. Now, I'm not saying every time you do that and then bam, you're done, but it pushes you forward, it propels you forward into that change so much quicker. Sometimes it is overnight success, but everybody's different. You know, you just never know. But it will propel you forward, and it gives you that clarity. It gives you that understanding so that you can rationalize when you're going, you know, when your kid changes school and you feel all uncomfortable, you can be like, oh, all right, I know why this is. I know it's because I'm getting my sense of safety from the familiar, but it's okay because everything changes and this something good could come from this, you know. Oh, now I don't have to do the school run because he's at a different school. Do you know what I mean? Like your brain will start giving you reasons to embrace the change because you've done the subconscious work. And not only with the kind of the revisiting and the understanding, but then you listen to your hypnosis audios that are reprogramming your subconscious mind in that state of hypnosis, which is just an open awareness state for your subconscious mind. It opens the door to it so it can absorb it all in. You're literally reinforcing change is great, embrace change, you love change, change is exciting, let go, like be comfortable with losing things, right? But at the same time fostering that inner sense of safety. So coming back to this inner sense of safety, right? Because a lot of us might not really know what that feels like. And quite honestly, I don't.
No.
Not yet. No. I'm getting closer. And all the work that I've done over the years has got me closer to feeling it. But right now, I still don't quite have it solidly.
Right.
I've done all the work around it, so I've built up my self-belief, I've built up my self-trust, I have confidence in myself. You know I'm a good person, I know I'm good at what I do, I know my faults, and you know, and I embrace all that. I love myself, I've worked on my self-love, I love who I am as a person for the most part, you know. And yet with all of that work that I've done, I still haven't quite got it. Because what I see as inner safety, as a sense of inner safety, because I'm very visual, I see things, don't I, in my moment. So what I see as inner safety is like a tree. You know, and a tree is strong and sturdy, and its roots go down deep into the ground. And if you imagine a tree just for a second, if you can imagine being that tree with those roots in the ground, like deep and standing there, you feel strong, you feel that sense of power. And then you can imagine like the wind blowing and, you know, a big storm coming, and yet that tree still stands there strong and powerful. And it might lose a few little branches here and there, some leaves come off, but fundamentally the tree is strong and safe and unwavering. And that for me is what inner safety would feel like. And I can touch it and taste it sometimes, and I'm getting closer. And this is what I'm working with on all my clients as well, and I see them getting it as well. And I think going on to like the spiritual aspect of things, this is why grounding is so important. And again, like I said, you know, in this podcast, I'm going to try and help you, give you some ways to start fostering that inner safety. Now we've spoken about what it is, and what it feels like, potentially could feel like, and how it can have such great effects in your life. Like how do you do it? Obviously I've just explained working with someone like me who can do the subconscious work, who can get you to a place where you can understand where that root cause came from, where you first learned to not feel safe. The best way of doing it, quite honestly, hypnosis audios to reprogram your sense of safety. But then every day, what I have found really helpful is like doing a grounding practice. Now, whether that's meditating and grounding your energy, you know, seeing roots come out of your feet and going down into the earth, into the center of the earth, like wrapping around, giving an energetic tug, and feel yourself, you know, strong like that tree, grounded like that tree. Now, at the moment, because I've been really working on it, I have found in my meditations that I'm not just standing there with roots, you know, two roots coming out of the soles of my feet. I'm sat on the ground now.
Right.
Those of you who are watching will be able to see, but for those who aren't watching, I'm sat cross-legged and I've got my hands on the kind of ground as well. And I have got roots coming out all of my fingers, all around the bottom, my bottom and my legs, and they're all going down. Yeah. And I've got, and it works. It feels like...
Isn't that interesting as well? Like, the more work you've done, the more the visuals, which again backs up like how you always say how important the imagination is and your visualization, how that just came naturally to your development. So you're developing, your visuals develop, and you become more ingrained in it, and whereas your mind wouldn't allow you to do that before, it was just at your feet, very simple, as I would be when I imagine doing it. But it's so interesting, isn't it, how it progresses visually as well.
And it's just, again, it's showing how my intuition has developed so much more, and how, more importantly, because we all have intuition, it's all there, it's just about unlocking it, but most importantly, trusting in it. So before, if that had come to me, I would have been like, no, I've been taught to put your two cords down into the ground, and they have to be red because that's the root chakra. And I'd be like, no, but just now, like intuitively, I trust myself. So if I'm finding myself chucking out loads of roots from my hands and fingers and I'm sat down, I will do it, and I will trust that that's exactly what I need to do. And because of that, I feel it so much more deep. And honestly, I can be, you know, the last few days, weeks have been really tough. Like, I felt very wobbly, very unsafe, just in general. And again, intuitively, I'm just like, I need to go and ground. It's not like, oh, time to do my meditation. I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm gonna struggle to carry on with my day. And as soon as I get in there and I do that and I feel those, roots going into the ground, and that's the inner safety. And this is what I'm saying, like, that is where I get a taste of it.
Right.
And this is what it is. It doesn't just come like that. No. You have to work at it. I say this all the time. Nobody goes to the gym once and expects them to get a six-pack, right? But so many people in this kind of work just think they'll do it once, and if it doesn't work and they haven't felt anything, it doesn't work. It's just all a bunch of nonsense. I'm not going to bother. It's no different. You have to put in the effort. You have to keep doing it. And trust me, it pays off, but it does take takes time. And yes, at first you do it because you feel like you have to, and it's a bit of a chore. But I've got to the stage now where I'm like, oh yeah, I just need to go. I need to go do it because I know it's a tool. It's such a healthy tool. And the more you do it, the more you start unlocking these things, and the more powerful it becomes. And it leads on to other things as well. And it, like I said, it helps you build your intuition. It helps you build that trust in yourself, and you feel that sense of safety in that moment, which gives you a taste of it. So you know what it feels like.
Yes, you know what you're looking for.
And you know it's there.
And that's helpful when you're manifesting, isn't it? Because you've had a taste of that feeling, so now you can manifest that feeling, go to that feeling, remember it.
Exactly.
And that's what you want.
Exactly. It's tangible, it's tangible. Because at the moment, I wonder how many of you know what I'm talking about when I say that sense of inner safety. But go try that meditation. Do it. Don't do it how I said. If you don't know what to do, and if you're new, then fine, please do it as I said. But if you feel like you need to do something different, if grounding for you is going and sitting on a beach and feeling the sand, or being in a river, and that's grounding to you, then do that. Go with your intuition, because that's what you need. But whatever you do it so you can get, like you said, so you can get the taste of what it feels like. The more you do it, the more familiar it becomes, the safer it becomes, because for your subconscious mind, familiar equals safe. This is why change equals unfamiliarity equals non-safety, which is the whole thing that we're talking about. So we have to, because life is always going to change. It's never going to stay the same. We have to have that sense of safety within ourselves and not put it on the external world. So you do your meditation, get that taste of the inner safety, and then, like you said, you can call on it whenever you need. So, working example, if you're having an argument, okay, let's say this, because this is quite common, what I see with my clients, right? Marriage issues. Okay, a lot of women, this is very stereotypical, but for the most part, this is what I see. Women feel reliant on the man for their safety financially. Even if they're both earning, and it's not that the woman is of a less of an earner, but that if they were to separate from their husbands, financially it's going to be difficult. And this makes them feel unsafe. Can stop you from leaving a marriage, or it can stop you from speaking up for yourself, putting your needs first, going into people-pleasing behaviors. There's lots, obviously, that you can see. So many like marriage issues come down to a sense of not having an inner safety, right? So because you're constantly, that sense of safety that you are attributing to your husband, or to your house, or to your finances, it leaves you feeling very, very wobbly, because if they go away, that's primal fear. I will not survive. That's basically what your body is telling you. If you lose your marriage, you lose your safety. You are fighting for your survival, and it's very irrational. But it doesn't feel that way. Like, to you, it feels very, very real, right? So if you're having that, like, deep down, but if you've got that deep down fear, it is going to cause you to be unhappy, to not be yourself, to not be able to express yourself, to constantly live in a fear or in a state of anxiety, and almost like you're waiting for something bad to happen. You're waiting for, you know, the penny to drop, or you're just waiting that your husband's going to go, right, that's it. I don't want to be with you anymore. Or, you know, oh, you can't afford your mortgage, you're going to lose your house. And it's why so many of us are just living in that chronic state of fight or flight, which then goes on and causes diseases, you know, all the diseases, causing havoc with your body, with your mind. This
the
is
energy as well. The energy you're putting out there.
It's just everything. It's everything. So then, with that being said, if you were in the middle of a conversation, an argument with your husband, right, and you wanted something, you were like trying to get your point across, but he's being argumentative, and then you are a classic people pleaser who struggles to voice your opinion because in places of conflict, it scares you. You have a fear of conflict, so you back down because you're just like, oh, I don't like conflict, or, you know, oh yeah, he's right, I'll just put his needs first, I'll just bow down and I'll just say okay. Right. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. And so imagine then, in that moment when you were doing those behaviors, imagine now being able to consciously think, oh, I'm doing this because deep down, I have a fear that I'm going to lose my safety. Right. That's not something that people's minds go to, but I guarantee you so many times that's what it is. So when you're in that moment and you begin to people please, or you don't speak up for what you actually think, you can say to yourself, right, I'm scared for my safety, but that's irrational. I'm safe. Take yourself back to that tree, you know, the feeling of the tree, feel yourself rooted into the ground, take a breath a minute, and you'll feel that sense of safety. And then watch and see how everything just goes. All of a sudden your critical thinking comes back online, and you can actually express yourself in a calm and non-emotionally charged way, or you won't do those behaviors necessarily that you would usually slip into subconsciously, because you're running that belief of, I'm not safe, this is a threat to my survival, so I will just bow down and please him, right? Just having that ability to be able to go back to that sense of inner safety is going to help you in that moment. So then imagine if you do that work all the time, and you start working on your, you know, your survival, your fear of, you know, being unsafe, or fear of loss. And imagine if you always felt, oh, I'm safe. Whatever happens, I'm safe. It's just you all those behaviors. And listen, I'm just giving an example of, you know, marriage issues here. This works for everything. This can work in your job, in friendships, you know, with parents, siblings, you know, just everything. It can work with everything. If you can just think, I'm safe, you don't do those crazy behaviors, those protective behaviors to stop you from losing your safety. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm repeating myself quite a lot, but it's actually really, it's important.
It is. And just to get that sense of calm, isn't it? Because if you know, like you were saying, you know, say with confrontation or whatever, some of us, we just want to be defensive, don't we, and come back, and that's how it erupts into a row, and then no one can get their point across, and you can't find your words. And but if you can become that calm, actually everybody then like will benefit from that, won't 100%. They? You know, and maybe you can have a calm conversation about something instead of getting into these squabbles, fights. And you know, that, I mean, that alone, if you can solve that, your quality of life is going to improve, isn't it? If you argue a lot, for example, you know. So I just think that's really useful to be able to come back to that, like you say, the tree. If you can just have that visual in your mind in any situation then that you feel out of control, you can come to that. And that's really effective. Like I could see it in my mind now, so I'm going to use that definitely.
Good. And you know, this is the thing. Like, also, I feel like it needs to be said that money here is very, very much linked to safety in this world, unfortunately. And if you can start clearing, and I'm thinking here, I had a client, I think it was yesterday, and we realized that, she has this sense of like not being safe, but she had no idea where it was coming from. And yesterday I helped her uncover that it's all around her money beliefs. Wow. And from that, we found, we dug in and found a whole load of beliefs that she has about money that are absolutely not serving her, and have been playing out in her life all this time. And it's just been an absolute game changer for her. She had like a real realization yesterday.
So she would never have linked it.
She
to
had
money.
no idea. She literally said to me, I had no idea that that's what it was. But she said, now you said it, like, I can't. That's it. And then she was having all these memories pop in of her mind and what her mum and dad used to say about money, and how they had a massive scarcity mindset, which is just passed on to her. And it's never enough for her. Like, she hoards money. She was on a 6-figure salary, and yet it still wasn't enough for her to make her feel safe. She's like, oh my God, I can't, like, I see it so clearly now. And that's what's playing out in her relationship at the moment. And so this is the thing, you can keep, if you don't look at your money beliefs, if you don't look at these limiting subconscious beliefs, you can go out there and you can get a great job and you can earn 6-figure salary and you will still not feel safe. It's and yet you could, someone who has worked on their inner money beliefs and their inner safety, or someone who has just grown up because of the way things have happened, learning that they don't have to tie their safety to money, because some people do. If they grow up learning that, then look at them, they can have no money and still feel completely safe. But the funny thing is that they will earn money and they will get money, because they don't have any fear about it. They will be all right. They'll always be all right. Because this is the thing, if you believe that you will always be okay, you will always be okay. If you believe that money equals safety, you will always have some kind of issue. You will never feel safe. Because money is just an energy. Money isn't safety. And that's really hard to understand. It took me a long time to get my head around it. But your subconscious beliefs are so powerful. They really, really are. So again, I wanted to mention money. It's a whole nother topic. It really is a whole nother topic. But it's very important in terms of safety. So if you know that you do relate money to safety, you're definitely going to want to work on your money beliefs. But in general, again, going back to helping you to start working on this internal feeling of safety, you want to be telling yourself things like, as well as doing the grounding, doing the subconscious work with someone if you can, you want to be telling yourself all the time, reprogramming your mind to believe that things are always working out for you. It doesn't matter, what's going on in the external. You are always safe. You are always taken care of. You trust yourself. You trust that you have everything you need within you to be okay. Opportunities are always available to you. You are guided. These are the kind of things, and this is where again the spiritual crosses over with the psychological, because for me, I personally find it so much easier to reprogram my beliefs when I have this spiritual kind of backup. Because for me, reprogramming my mind, I 100% believe that there are external forces, unseen forces that are guiding us and that are helping us. And I believe that 100%. Now, I didn't.
No.
Just 5 years ago, I didn't believe that. And in fact, I was the absolute opposite of that belief. So I'm saying that to say, if you don't believe it now, don't think, well, that's not going to work for me, because you can. And now I had to have a huge thing happen to me, the loss of my mum, to propel me into changing that, having that first change. But not everybody needs to do that. Not everybody needs that. And just know that you can absolutely do it. Start changing your belief that you are guided, start looking into that, and you will find evidence of it, because everything exists around you, and all you have to do is use your beliefs to make that real in your reality. And again, tangent, sorry, but this is what you need to do. It's those kind of spiritual beliefs that are really, really going to help you get that sense of inner safety. It's what's, I have to be 100% honest. If I didn't have the belief that I'm guided, that the universe is actually working to help me, that there are unseen helpers that are kind of dropping in little synchronicities and nuggets for me to follow, I'd struggle to kind of get to where I am with my inner safety and to continue working on. I have to be honest. But if you're open to looking at that kind of spiritual view, that you are looked after, that everything is always working out for you, that your higher self, your soul knows what you want and is guiding you, you will see evidence of it. Because I cannot stress this enough, and I always say it. I've said it all through my podcast. I say it all the time. But your beliefs are the absolute key to your reality. They are. You change your beliefs, you change your reality. And I'm not saying it's easy.
No.
But it can absolutely be done. And when you realize this, the first time you truly realize this, it is like you've unlocked a cheat code to life. It's like when you know it, you feel like you know something other people don't know, but then you want everybody to know it, because you're like, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. And that's, why I have this absolute drive and passion to do all the work that I do, like in everything, even in my membership where I teach hypnotherapists, I am still working on their beliefs. Like, I'm helping them to believe that they can step out and do this. It's in everything. It's in absolutely everything. So you can see I'm getting passionate about this, because when a belief is just a thought that you think over and over again. Right. And so for me as well, now I think, well, you can believe in something negative or you can believe in something positive. So if you get to choose your beliefs, which you absolutely do, and I know that because that's what I do in my work. I've done it for 4 years now, and I know it to be true. So if you can choose your beliefs, why not choose a good one? Seriously, like I'm just like, that's a no-brainer. We are so programmed as humanity, as a society, to see the negative. And there's different reasons for that, and we won't go into it why, but we are, unfortunately, we're very much programmed to see the negative.
And like you say, just coming back to the money thing as well, we're programmed to live our lives by what we've got, like money wise, that is our programming, isn't it? And I don't think I had an awful lot of that. I was like quite lucky. Somehow I dodged that bullet. Don't know how. So obviously with this work that you're telling me now, I'm finding it a little bit easier, because I didn't have my safety in money. And I couldn't explain to you why I haven't got that, because I can imagine it's a very, like I said, they program society to be reliant on money, and money is everything. So I don't.
Well, it's definitely a lot to do with your parents as well. So maybe your parents have had a healthy relationship with money. Maybe they didn't. It wasn't ever spoken about. Maybe you didn't pick up on it.
Maybe I never got like a scare over. I suppose like some kids could have got a fright with listening to their parents worry about money or whatever. I know I was very much like very grateful for things and very aware of money, in terms of if I would hear them saying to my brother, for example, no, we can't afford that, I would be like, oh, well, I didn't want to ask for that because you can't afford it. But then my mum would say, oh no, Becky, don't be silly, like we can, because she was probably talking to my brother about the 10th pair of trainers he got or something that was totally unnecessary or something like that. And maybe that just settled me then. So where that conversation would have been over, I would have just heard, oh, worried about money. And just luckily I talked it out and discovered, oh, that wasn't so. It wasn't how I was imagining.
Yeah.
So she must have picked up on me sort of holding back and being worried to ask for things, and then got that sorted in my head.
Yeah.
So I've been lucky with that. So I have always let go of money. And just like you said, for some reason, even before I was very spiritual, I think I did always have this thing like something's out there that you'll always be all right. Like you said, you'll always be all right. It's okay. You'll figure it out. There's a solution to everything.
Yeah.
And also, I've never really been afraid to lose everything. I probably am a little bit more now because I'm older and you sort of built up.
Yeah.
A few more years.
Yes. Time goes out.
Sort of like coming through your 20s and things like that, I'd just be like, oh, well, we'll live in a tin. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Very much that attitude. But yeah, it's probably got a bit harder.
Yeah, but that's such a great, it is such a great example, because you've got you sat here and then me who grew up and I, with money scarcity, definitely scarcity. Now, you'd think that looking back, it's been really difficult to dig back into, and I'm still not 100% sure, but it's been difficult because I always had what I wanted.
Yeah.
However, and this is the thing, and again, an example, like, we never went without. We always had everything we wanted. Really, we did. But my dad worked 2 jobs. So when I was really younger, my dad worked 2 jobs. He worked hard for money. My mum worked, and we always just had enough.
Yeah.
So what I was learning was money's hard to get.
Yeah. You got to work, slog.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were never my mum and dad were never extravagant in terms of, we didn't go on loads of holidays. We didn't really spend, though we always had what we wanted toys wise, like everything, like anything we wanted. Christmas was lovely. My mum never said no to us. We weren't spoiled, but we never got told no. And yet we didn't do anything extra. Does that make sense? Like, my mum would never get her nails done. She would never go to the hairdressers and get her. So money wasn't to be spent on fun.
No.
Money was for survival.
Right. Yes, that's right. Yes. Luxuries.
We didn't have luxuries.
No.
We didn't live luxury. So we always had what we wanted, but we didn't have luxuries.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that programmed me with this inner narrative that money's tough, hard to get. You have to work, graft hard for money.
Yeah.
And you'll only ever have what you need.
Yeah.
That sets my thermometer. Yes. That sets my kind of money thermometer.
That's
so for me, for my subconscious mind, I learned that this is where it's safe to be. Yeah. So you've just got enough. You can have what you can have what you want, but don't be excessive.
Yeah.
And anything else other than that is or frivolous.
Yeah.
And we're only ever going to have that much money because my mum was, bless her, she was very good at the whole money doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm going to be working for the rest of my life and never really have anything to show for it.
Yeah.
These kind of things that life's a bitch and then you die.
Yeah.
So my mum had a lot to do with the whole kind of life. It's all hard and it's just survival.
Yes.
And that's why I very much
need
got
money to survive.
Yes.
That's what you're getting from that. See, my mum didn't work. I bet that had a lot to do with it,
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is similar to me, as in terms of, not being spoiled and things like that. We didn't go on holidays, but we had everything we needed. And we had nice Christmases and things like that, but nothing extravagant at all. My mum also wouldn't get her hair and nails done or spend excessive money on herself in any way. So again, I'm learning. I have got a bit of that, oh no, I can't get my nails done. That's that's OTT, isn't it? So certain elements I've picked up, but I wonder if it's because my mum didn't work and being a female as well, I'm looking at her as and I think, oh well, we've always been all right, and she hasn't had to go blood, sweat and tears in the office or wherever slogging and then coming home and being exhausted, and it's all to get this thing called money in order for us to survive. So I've had that more chilled. So maybe that's the difference there.
Yeah. And also there's other things that come into play, and this again is why, you know, when you do this work, you realize that there's lots of stuff that you have to kind of dig into, and it all is intertwined, and it is about peeling the layers off of the onion, because money is one side of the survival, but where we have probably differed as well, which is why you don't have this absolute fear of loss and this sense of, you know, being unsafe, and I do, is because not only did I have the money thing, and so that's tied to my sense of safety, but then I also had periods in my childhood where I felt very unsafe and very worried about loss. I had a period of a lot of loss in a very small space of time, and I didn't get what I needed. That's not blame for my parents, but I didn't express myself, so they didn't know how I was feeling, and this is what happens. This is what happens with kids. It's what I deal with all the time. But because of that period in my life was very, very unsafe, and so now when I feel unsafe, when things are triggered, I am going back to that time in my life where I experienced a lot of loss, and I wasn't comforted, and I wasn't told that everything was going to be okay, and I wasn't told, don't worry, you are actually safe, you are always safe. I wasn't told that.
You were alone. You felt alone.
I felt alone, and I tried to cope with it myself, and to do that I employed lots of protective mechanisms, which had then, as I got older, turned into all the behaviors that I don't want, the people pleasing, the not being able to speak up for yourself, the not being able to put yourself first, the taking responsibility for other people's feelings and emotions, trying to manage my safety by appeasing other people, or by dimming myself down so that I can stay safe. And all of those behaviors funnel down fundamentally at its root to my not having an inner sense of safety. And you know, everybody's different, but everybody's also very similar. You know, I see very similar themes occurring, and like I said, you know, with me, I got a little bit of money in there, that massive bit of loss and unsafety in my childhood, and it all mangles together to create this big mess of stuff that you basically have to unpick when you start doing this healing work. And that's why it's a journey, you know, and that's why after 5 years I'm only now kind of just getting to the point where I feel like I'm at the bottom of that part, and that doesn't mean that I'm going to be done by any means, but you know, I really feel like I'm getting there. And the good thing is I know what I have to do. I know that it's there. I know that's my problem, and I know what I have to do, all the things that we've talked about, you know, to be able to heal that and to start developing that sense of safety within myself. And this is how, you know, people that do have that, you see these people kind of just going through life, and you think, how do they cope with that? How are they so positive all the time? Or how can all of that be happening to them and they're still like standing? It's because at some level they do have that inner sense of safety, and we can all have that. We can all feel like that. And again, I know I keep saying this, but just imagine if you could always, despite what's going on, you know, we all know we're going to lose people close to us. We know we are. You know, I've done it. I've had 2 people in 2 years, 2 very significant people. I've lost them. And this is the ironic part, right? So my fear always running in the background that's responsible for my unhappiness, the bits that make me unhappy in my life, or the difficulties, is because I have this absolute terror of loss. And yet I have absolute evidence that when it does happen to me, I can cope. Not only can I cope from it, I can actually still end up thriving despite it. And then it seems so silly, and because you just think, what are you doing? You know you can cope, but that's really great, because I also know that I have it in me. You know, I know I'm strong, and I'm strong because of the things that have happened to me, and I've kind of gone through them, and at some point I must have a sense, and in a sense already, of, well, it will work out, I'll be fine.
one that you didn't realise that you had.
Yes. So again, it's like, look back at your life and think, well, what have I come through? Where have I really, really felt unsafe? Where have I experienced loss or change? And how did I cope with it? And did I come out better for it? What have I learned from it? Did I cope better than I thought I did? You know, ask yourself these questions. Have a look, because it's all reassurance that you can keep reminding yourself of, like, you'll be fine. It's another thing, like, you know, the affirmations I was saying to you, you know, everything's working out for you. You're always going to be fine. You're guided. You've got everything you need. That's going to be easier to be believed if you can back it up with the proof that you've already done it. And I bet you all have. I bet you all have. Even if you go back to childhood and you got bullied, or you didn't like going to school, but you still went every day, you still got through it, you got your results, you know, you came out, and look at you now, you know, you are where you are. You did it. We're tough. We are tough, and we just have to remind ourselves that, because within all of us is that little scared child that at some point felt, you know, in my example, felt very, very unsafe, wasn't comforted, dealt with it on her own. We all have that young version of us still living that, and but we got through it. Right, we just have to remind ourselves that we did. And that's why my programs are so powerful. You know, you've experienced it, because we go back in hypnosis, and we go back and we find that little child, and we rescue her, and we give her all the things that she didn't have, and we change that memory, and that changes everything, doesn't it?
It does.
So,
and that's very, I suppose, like you say, you can do it on your own. Can you? But can you? Do you think it's not the powerful treatment that you get from going from the hypnosis, going back to that actual time and healing that emotion where it all began?
Because the thing is it's really, really difficult, and I've had this conversation with my clients this week. You know, the things that we uncovered in regression, they would never ever have guessed that it was from that memory, if they even remembered that memory before or not, because a lot of the memories we uncover aren't conscious,
right?
You know, but even on the ones where they say to me, you know, oh, that I do have a conscious memory of that, but I never realized that's how I felt, or I never realized that's, you know, why I've had all these behaviors all this time. You know, and that's the beauty of working with someone who can help you in that way, because we can all sit down and do inner child meditations, and sometimes you'll get something, but again, you need someone to draw it out of you. It's really hard to just do it in your mind on your own, and there are tools, absolutely, journaling, inner child, like meditations, you know, kind of just all the bits like we've spoken about before in previous podcast episodes. You can, but if you are really, really determined to get to the bottom of it, to dig into yourself in a way that you just can't see consciously, you need to have some help and guidance with that. I do firmly believe that.
I do as well, definitely. It's very powerful.
And I go and I get help, because I know the importance of it. So I will always, I know when I get to a point where I can't do any more on my own, and I will go and ask for help, which I've had at the moment, haven't I? So I'm working with someone at the moment, because I just knew, and already in 2 sessions I've uncovered loads of stuff, haven't I? That I was like, of course, but never be afraid to ask for help. It was the best thing that I learned, because I always thought, again, this was this little Tash within me who, when she felt unsafe, she learned, I just have to look after myself. That was one of the things that I learned there, where that was my protective mechanism in that time of loss. No, I can do this by myself. You don't ask for other people. They're all suffering, because I was very empathetic, sensitive child. Don't want to add to their troubles. I'll just deal with this by myself. And I had to unlearn that, you know, in this journey. And it was one of the best things I ever did, being okay with asking for help, and knowing when to ask for help, and embracing asking for help, and seeing it for the gift that it is, because it is truly, it's amazing. So, wow.
Oh, that was very interesting.
Yes.
Thank you, Ella.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I hope that it's resonated with a lot of you, whether you knew that you didn't have a sense of inner safety, or, you know, whether this has been enlightening for you and you've realised things you hadn't realised. I just hope that you can take something from it.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you would like help with figuring out, you know, where your sense of inner safety can come from, or where your fear of loss comes from, or any of that, then please head down to the show notes and you can find my details, get in contact. I'd love to speak with you and help you. And also, just a reminder, because we haven't done it for a while, have we? Guys, we are on a mission right now to get this podcast out to as many people as possible. So please, please, if you enjoy this podcast, or if you know anybody who you think would love to listen to this podcast or find it helpful, anyone who's interested in spirituality, personal growth, self-help, psychology, subconscious mind, please, could you share the podcast with them? Let them know that they would love it and that they could get something from it. And also, if you are listening and you haven't done so already, make sure to hit the subscribe button on your podcast player, whatever you're listening to, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Make sure to hit subscribe or follow so that you get notified every time we release a new episode, because we know what life's like. You forget, don't you? We do it all the time. We have podcasts that we listen to, and then if you don't subscribe to them, you forget about them. You could be missing some juicy stuff. So please make sure you follow or subscribe. And also, one last thing, if you haven't done so, we would be very, very grateful if you could give us a rating, or for people who aren't watching, Becky just held up a little 5 fingers, a 5-star rating, please, because that helps push our podcast out on all the search engines as well. So again, more people can find us. It's a free resource, and we just want as many people to experience it and benefit from it as possible. We have such incredible feedback from you guys that are listening, I just want as many people to be able to get from this what all you guys are saying you get. So yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I felt like there was one more thing I wanted to say, and now it's gone out of my mind. But never mind. It will. It will come. Yeah. No. It will come, but I won't be on the podcast. I'll let you know next time. Okay, guys. We will see you for the next episode. And you'll know when that is because you'll have subscribed and followed. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.